Have you ever wondered how long you would like to live? 80 years, 90, 120, longer? Will you change your mind after you reach that age? 50,000 years ago, most people died young. As resource utilization skills and medicine improved, things got better. Today, people are living longer and healthier lives than ever before. But this all has unintended consequences. We spend an increasing proportion of our lives being sick and needing care. Most of us will die in a hospital bed, which is oppressive in and of itself. But we also see it happen to those we care about. Though perhaps we can stop it for good.
First in outer space.
The most effective way to treat a disease is to prevent it from happening in the first place. Many more lives can be saved if you convince millions of people to stop smoking, compared to creating a better cure for cancer. So why not put an end to the beginning of all disease and the aging process? In a nutshell, aging is caused by physics, not biology. Think of an automobile. Parts wear out from friction, metal parts rust, filters unclog, rubber cracks. Our bodies wear out by trillions of tiny physical processes: oxygen, solar radiation, metabolism. Our bodies have many mechanisms to repair this damage, but over time they become less efficient. Because of this, our bones and muscles weaken, our skin wrinkles, our immune system becomes weaker. We lose our memory and our senses deteriorate. There is no such thing as dying of old age. We all die due to the breakdown of one of our important parts. The older we get, the more damaged and brittle we become, until one or more diseases kill us. Unbeknownst to most of us, research into the continuation of life has made unprecedented advances in the last few years. We have begun to understand the mechanisms that cause aging and the algorithms to control them. Aging is not a mystical process or something that can somehow be avoided. It is possible that mankind may succeed in halting the development of old age, as they call it, in delaying its onset. We will now try to consider this phenomenon from the scientific side. And in another video, we will consider the actions of modern scientists to delay the onset of old age. The first question that needs to be answered is whether the aging process should be halted at all, and is it in fact a good idea? Life extension or the end of aging will cause a large number of people certain discomforts. Every person is born and goes through all the stages of life in stages: childhood, adolescence, adulthood, maturity, senility, and death. This has been considered throughout human history as the most natural process. It follows that aging is a logical and good process, right? We like the idea of living long enough to experience all the nuances of old age. These are the so-called golden years. But the reality is not so prosaic. Many people want the onset of this period of old age, but no one wants to feel old. Let us, for example, remember the Greek myth of Typhon. Typhon was the lover of the goddess Eos, and was probably an amazing young man because the goddess appealed to Zeus with a request to grant the guy immortality. The goddess wanted to spend eternity together, but Eos forgot to ask Zeus for one more thing: eternal youth. Zeus awarded Typhon eternal life, but he grew old and just couldn't die. After living for several hundred years, Typhon grew old completely, dried up to the size of a grape, and remained in this helpless form forever. Even since those ancient times, people have been afraid of such a concept as endless old age. In fact, the process of ending old age does not mean that a person should gradually become weaker and weaker. If one stops the aging process at a deep age, it will be too late. For example, a person who manages to stop the aging process at 90 years of age will in any case die within the next few years. His body has already suffered a great deal of damage, and his physical capabilities and resources will simply not be sufficient for recovery. Deeper in age, there are more opportunities for acquiring critical diseases. According to scientists, the concept of life extension is directly proportional to extending the end of disease. Hence, the end of a fixed maximum of life extension has been observed. No one can say for sure by how much maximum life extension is possible. Perhaps it will be possible to achieve the duration of years up to 120 years, and maybe mankind will be able to overcome old age and death forever, and will be able to completely get rid of all diseases. At the moment, it is difficult to estimate all potential possibilities of mankind. Yes, it may be possible to achieve complete immortality, but is it really necessary for mankind? In fact, the concept of life extension is just another phrase in the field of medicine. All actions of doctors are aimed at prolonging life and minimizing suffering. A larger percentage of healthcare resources are directed at the effects of the aging process. Most of a person's resources during his or her lifetime are directed to healthcare. Half are spent in old age, and approximately 1/3 of resources are spent in middle age. There are now many trials in medicine aimed at prolonging life through the use of medical techniques. But this, so far, does not show any effectiveness. All attempts to prevent or stop the aging process are as natural as organ transplants, the use of vaccines, antibiotics, or cancer treatment with chemotherapy. These days, everything that seems unnatural at first glance is part of the norm. We have learned to enjoy high standards of living and strive for more. But most people start thinking about preventing old age when it is too late, when the machine has already broken down. We are used to spending most of our resources on repairing what is broken than trying to prevent breakdown much earlier, more effectively, and at lower cost. Life extension claims are still categorized as something arrogant. Many people are sure that when they reach a certain age, they will want to die. And the idea of completely abolishing death is very frightening to them. The end of biological aging is not the end of death in any case. It can be compared to a child playing outside in the evening when one wanted to extend the time of play and stop the sunset. Although the talk about eternal play ends when the body starts to feel tired and one doesn't want to play anymore. If we could imagine a world without disease, old age, and death, how would it affect us in 100 or 200 years? If we knew we would live longer, would we take better care of our planet? If we could work for 150 years, how many years could be spent finding a favorite activity? How many years could be allocated to years of schooling, starting a family, etc.? Would that societal pressure from the outside world and the sense of stress that every other person on this planet feels disappear? Or would it have gotten worse? I'll ask again, if you could choose now how many years you would live in health, with family and friends, what would your answer be? What is the ideal future for you? Your future depends directly on your thoughts and actions.